Over the years, I have picked up a ton of useful tools that help with 3D printing, whether it's for different projects or whether it's just to improve print quality or workflow. Take this wireless soldering iron, for example. I upgraded from a regular soldering iron to this wireless one because it allows me to just use it a hell of a lot more conveniently. A soldering iron is a tool that everybody who's using 3D printing will eventually probably want to get their hands on. Any project that uses lighting or wiring or batteries or anything like that, this tool is going to be incredibly useful. But it being wireless means it is available at all times. Whenever I need it, I can just grab it out of its holder that I 3D printed and then take it out of the box and use it straight away. No getting under the desk to plug in wires or having to unplug it and wrap it up and put it away later as well. I can just take it straight away, use it, and then put it back once it's done and cooled down. But many of my favorite 3D prints wouldn't have been possible without a soldering iron. Whether it's the lamps on my desk that light up the room, or whether it's the medieval wall torch that glows nicely in the background, or many other things as well. And the best part is this charges by USB-C, meaning that when it does need charging, I can just plug it into the phone charger that I've got laying around and then put it away ready for the next use. And just because it's wireless doesn't mean it's more expensive. These are reasonably priced, and everything in this video will be linked in the description. But honestly, you could argue that this is even more important. This is a digital caliper that I bought recently, and I went way too long without one of these. If you plan on designing any of your 3D prints, one of these is a must-have. A digital caliper basically just allows you to get the most accurate measurement that you could possibly get, and the digital bit is just very convenient because it displays that to you perfectly. And again, you don't have to spend a ton of money on these. This one's pretty cheap and it does the job perfectly. Anytime that I'm designing anything, whether it's finding out tolerances so something will fit inside nicely, or whether it's just deciding how big something needs to actually be, I reach for these calipers now all the time. Considering how late into 3D printing I bought one of these, the amount I use them now, I don't know how I managed without one before. Getting accurate measurements while designing your models is way more important than you'll realize. You'll save filament and time and a lot of frustrations by just using one of these to make sure that you're right before you actually press print. All I would suggest is make sure you check reviews before you buy one, because when I was looking for mine, I noticed a few of them had quite a lot of people complaining about the accuracy of them, but this one is absolutely great and I have had no issues with it whatsoever. A new tool that's been super helpful for maintaining the 3D printers has been this Wolfbox high-powered fan. And when I say high-powered, I mean like ridiculously high-powered. But it's super useful because all the places that you can't reach in the bottom of the 3D printer in the back and whatnot, this will absolutely get in there and blast out any dust and bits of plastic that have broken off or purged off and fallen in there that you can't reach very easily. It'll blow it all out nice and easy and keep it really clean. Not to mention it has multiple nozzles that you can just unscrew and attach on again for different areas. I use the narrow nozzle for the actual print head fans, but of course, unplug your printer when you do this and only use a lower fan speed. You don't want to blast this on max power because you don't want to damage it. But of course, with the narrow nozzle, you can bring the power down a bit and get in there, get it all cleaned out nice and easy. It's part of your regular maintenance of the 3D printer anyway, just makes it a lot more quick and convenient. But a habit I've got into is just grabbing this thing out and giving the printers a good quick blast around every now and again, just to clear off any dust that's gathering on top of them or underneath and all that sort of stuff. It keeps them clean, it keeps them running smoothly, and it means that nothing's getting caught in all the grease and that sort of stuff, so it's super helpful. Not to mention, if you've got dust and bits of plastic laying around your workbench, you can just give that a little blast too and vacuum it later on. But this thing charges by USB-C, it can be used for way more things than just 3D printers, and it's today's video sponsor, so if you are interested, there'll be a link in the description, but I genuinely do recommend grabbing one of these. It's a very useful tool. Now, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you may have noticed that I've swapped out my bamboo build plates normally in replacement for these BQ Cryogrip ones, and this is a massive upgrade. Like, they just might as well be called peace of mind. They're ridiculous. Now, there's a couple of different plates here that do different things, but we'll talk about them both. This one is actually insane. Like, if you want stress-free 3D printing, then this is definitely a worthwhile investment for the small amount of money that it actually costs. When I say this gives you the best PLA adhesion you will find, I am not joking. No glue, no brims, no nothing. Like, you will be able to print on this and not have to worry about it at all. In fact, if anything, you may have to worry about getting it off without using a scraper or something like that. But I mean, they still bend really well. You can still like just pop them off. It's great. But at the end of the day, things stick to this better than they come off. It's unbelievable. Now, you can use this one for PLA, PETG, and ABS, and I Have used it for other things as well, but if it's using like TPU and stuff, just put a bit of glue down as a releasing agent first. But that's where the second plate comes in, because you'll likely want to use this one for that sort of thing instead. This build plate is called the Pro Glacier, and it has a much more smooth finish, but it still has really good adhesion. And what it does is it allows you to actually use this for many different materials rather than just PLA and PETG and ABS. You can use it for everything. You can use this to print TPU, carbon fiber stuff, glass fiber stuff. I've used it for all of these and it works great every single time. But also you can still use it for PLA as well. I don't take this thing off of the printer. I basically just leave it on there, and no matter what I'm printing, I just use the exact same build plate. Now, if I was printing just one thing, I would send it over to this plate here, because I know for a fact that nothing's ever going to fail with this. The adhesion is ridiculous. It will always work. But honestly, if you're printing as much as I am and you just don't want to worry about bed adhesion anymore at all, these, for the price of them, are definitely a worthwhile investment. So since I've now started designing a lot more of my own prints, and which I'll be sharing all of them on Patreon, and a lot of them are already there, I actually printed this really useful tool out for doing just that. This is a radius gauge, and there's another version as well. Basically what these do is allow you to just pick one of these cards out here, and then just put it up against whatever it is that you're trying to design, whether it's a lid or a cover or whatever. A good example of using this would be if I wanted to create a custom phone case for my phone. I'd obviously need to know the radius of the phone itself so that it fit nicely inside the case. To do this, I could just take one of these cards, place it up against the actual phone case's edge, and then it will tell me what size the radius is. And then I can just put that into Fusion when I design my model, 3D print it out, and know that it's going to fit snugly. And these print so quick and use such little filament as well that it's worth printing them out even if you haven't got to designing just yet. If you plan on doing it at some point, it's a tool that's going to be worth having around, so just pop it in your drawer, and then when you do come to needing it, you don't have to wait for it to print. You can just grab it out and have a use for it. So quick interruption to say thank you to everybody who's already subscribed. The channel growth's been ridiculous. Like I don't know, it's crazy, but I am doing my best to improve the quality of each and every video. So if you are enjoying them, please do click the sub button. It helps out a lot and I will very much appreciate it. So here's a tool that I use every single day for multiple different reasons. This is a Leatherman, but it is basically an everything tool, right? It's a multi-tool, of course it is. It's got multiple different knives for different reasons. It's got a saw in there as well if you ever need to cut anything. It's got pliers, it's got scissors, it's got files, it's got everything. Basically, if you need something like, hey, I need to strip some wires to do some LEDs, the Leatherman comes out. I need to trim down some actual filament, the Leatherman comes out. I need to use scissors to cut a little bit of something off, the Leatherman comes out. This thing is so useful that I literally just grab it out of the drawer multiple times a day when working on projects for videos like this and many other reasons as well. Now, initially I did just use a cheaper multi-tool, and this was absolutely great as well and still got a hell of a lot of use. It just doesn't have quite as many tools as the Leatherman does, which my wife was nice enough to treat me to, and so now this gets a use like crazy. But the point is, a multi-tool is definitely worth picking up because you will find yourself using this probably more than the majority of the other tools that you have around. There's a screwdriver, there's the scissors like I mentioned, wire strippers, wire cutters, everything. If you can think of it, it probably has it, except for one thing. There's one thing that this can do, but just not as good as the next tool, and that's actually our next thing. Deburring tool. A deburring tool is something I didn't grab for the longest time until a lot of people commented and said I should get one. I was initially using a pocket knife like this to remove the edges of prints. However, a deburring tool is more specialized for this actual use. The blade itself rotates around and adjusts to the edge of your 3D prints. So for example, if you printed something like what you can see here with a rectangle oval base, and you've got yourself a actual brim on the outside to hold it down and stop any warping or whatever else you may have used it for, you can run the edge of the actual deburring tool all the way around here very easily and conveniently, removing that edge, and it's way more consistent than if you used a pocket knife or anything else. The edge is going to look super clean and tidy if you use a deburring tool, but if you use a pocket knife, there's a good chance that you cut too deep, or maybe you slip and you cut in different places. And this is also just way more efficient, since because it adjusts around the print, you can actually just drag it all the way around in one motion. And if you're really good at it, which I'm not just yet, you can easily get this done in one go. It's way faster than using a knife and taking little bits off every time. Now this one only cost me £6 on Amazon, about $7–8 in the US, and it comes with tons of different blades that you can just lift and swap out whenever you need it for a different job. And while I've not had it for the longest time, I've had no issues with it whatsoever. The blades aren't getting dull or anything like that. It's only cutting plastic, so I can't imagine that it would really be too big of an issue. So this next one is very important to consider if you work in a place like me. If your 3D printers are in a small office space or in a room that's close to where you actually spend a lot of time and it's not too ventilated, it's very important that you grab yourself an air purifier. I probably left this longer than I would like to admit, honestly. I mean, I'm usually just using PLA and printing like the odd thing here and there, but when I started this channel, these printers have been running non-stop. And so from that point, I quickly invested in an air purifier. Now, while printing PLA, it's not the end of the world. I'm not trying to like scare people into thinking, I print one PLA thing a week and it's not, the printer's like close by. That's probably fine, right? That's probably okay. However, if you're like me in a small space and you've got print after print after print after print coming off of the print bed, it's definitely worthwhile having one of these to grab all of the different fumes and microplastics and all sort of stuff that is left into the air that you don't want to necessarily be breathing in. Now, this air purifier is ridiculously good. It is probably overpowered for the space and what I actually use it for, but to me, over to the top is better than not good enough. But even if you're watching thinking I'm being a bit dramatic, to me, it's very important. I would actually recommend it, even if it's just a smaller one, just to help out a little bit. Now, this next one, most of you will probably have around the house anyway, and it's a power bank. But this is super useful even for 3D printing, because if you're making certain things that have like LED strips or any sort of thing that needs testing along the way in terms of like lights or power or anything like that, you can use this to test it without having to take it and plug it in somewhere else and then bring it back and then make adjustments. This way, you can put the lights in or do any soldering that you want to do step one, plug it in, check that it works, and then put the next bit on, plug it in again, test that it works, and you can keep testing along the way to make sure that you haven't done anything that caused it to malfunction or not work. And then that way you don't get to the end, realize it's too late, and then have to take the whole thing apart again. It's something I've definitely got experience with when I started out. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you'll probably enjoy this one, so check it out, and I'll catch you in the next one.